Welcome everyone back to Bbpn. I'm your host Cadet Tank, and after a long Christmas break, it's time to get the show back on the road. Now before we restructure the divisions with the round 2 advancers, we will get our usual crew to go back through and see who made it and who didn't from their respective divisions. Plus, I believe this scum is going to give us early coverage of who's in the hooligan division. Now, before we go over to Ace in the Kord division and see what Christmas present he got this year, you normally would see some type of interruption right here from the corner, but good news, we shipped him off over to Scar's area, because you know Scar's always bitching about needing some help. Oh, classic silence. Alright, Ace in the Kord division.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Bbpn, where we cover all the Blood Bowl that no one else will. And I said I had a surprise for you. Surprise, face reveal. But so we are finally at the end of round 1. Kord division has finished, and let's go ahead and look at day 6, 7, 8, and 9 games. Look at the teams and the leaderboard to see who's going where. So day 6, we have the Orcs take a 2-1 win over the Underworld. The Diamond Dogs take a 2-1 win over the Norse. The Humans take a 3-1 win over the Chaos Dwarves. The Ogres get the 2-1 win over the Undead. And the Kislev get their first win over the Chaos 2-1. Day 7, we see Chaos lose 2-1 to the Underworld. We see 2-0 the Kislev get yet another win against the Ogres. The Humans drop 1-2 to the Undead. The Chaos Dwarves and the Norse tie 1-1. And the Orcs tie the Elves 2-2. You have the Underworld in day 8 taking a 2-1 win over the Ogres. The Chaos losing a massive 6-0 game to the Humans, which we will take a look at that here in a second. Kislev getting a 3rd win in a row at 3-0 over the Norse. Too bad he couldn't do this earlier. Orcs take a 3-0 win over the Undead and a 1-1 draw between the Elves and Dwarves. Well, before we go over day 9, let's go ahead and look at that. How, 1 pass, 2 armor breaks, 1 death, 14 armor breaks, 29 blocks. Jesus, that 146 yards rushing. Oh, it was just a steamroll. Wow. Good job, Cadet, on that game. So, day 9. Underworld take a 2-1 win over the Elves. Orcs lose 2-0 to the Chaos Dwarves. Norse lose 2-0 to the Undead. Humans get the 1-0 win over the Kislev. And Ogres finish off with a 2-1 win over the Chaos. And sadly, though, it was an admin win, not actually played. No. So 2 admin wins at the end there, sadly. So let's go ahead and look at the leaderboards and see who is moving on. So at number 1, with no surprise, is Callisti Maya with the Diamond Dogs, the Elven Union, winning out the Kord division. You have the Underworld coming in at number 2, surprisingly, with 5-2-2. Humans making a massive comeback and coming up 5-1-3. Superfed coming in the middle at 4 with 4-4-1. Norse coming in at 4-3-2 at 5. Orcs coming in at 6 with 4-2-3. And the final team making it in, surprisingly, is Discum's Kislev at 3-0-6. I thought he was mathematically eliminated, but wow, Scum, you lucky son of a bitch. Sometimes Nuffle loves you. So let's go ahead and look at these 7 teams that are moving on. So, let's of course look at the person that won the entire Kord division for round 1, Callisti Maya. Would you look at that? He has 9 elves this time, not 8. Surprise, surprise. He has, looks like 4 level 3s. His thrower getting an AG plus with dodge, Blitzer with blodge, Blitzer with blodge tackle, catcher with blodge, and a catcher with strength up and dodge, with no other level ups going through. I would say it might be hard for him, but he's winning. I can't argue with results. So good job, Callisti. So let's look at the Underworld, the second place team of the Kord division. Surprisingly, he has 4 goblins ready for that level up, so he could take 2 heads, block to get blodge, 2 heads for that 2+ through all tackle zones, etc. Just a massive amount of things he could take. A lineman leveling up, a lineman with tackle, a thrower with block, and a thrower with leader. The Skaven Blitzer with claw, mighty blow, and the Warstorm Force with claw, mighty blow. So he has his killer pieces, he has the throwers for ball handling, the lineman's leveling up, the other one's leveling up, so he has the support, and finally his goblins have lived long enough to get these levels, and he could become a very, very scary team in round 2. So let's look at the comeback kid of the Kord division after suffering so many deaths. The Space Marines of Cadet. The thrower getting Hail Mary pass accurate. Blitzer getting tackle. Blitzer with AB down but AG up blodge. Blitzer with pile-on mighty blow. Catcher with an AG up block or blodge. Catcher with the movement plus, which is always nice with diving catch. Lineman with guard for that support, and an ogre that I guess he just probably bought for support for that to really sure up that middle area, and a bunch of linemen not leveled. But it's humans; they can do almost everything well, but they can't do everything perfectly. So there's a master jack of all trades, but he has all the skills he pretty much needs on his key players outside one blitzer to really kind of handle any situation that the game throws at him. Then we're going to look at the Chaos Dwarves of Superfed. And we do see that his Bull Centaur that he had to replace does level get block. He does have a Blitzer Bull Centaur with block, tackle, mighty blow. 2 Chaos Dwarves finally getting guard. Another one, he's opting for mighty blow, but he is only 3 SSP away from a level, so probably working out. Hobgoblin with blodge, but a niggle. So if he goes down, well, there could go his blodger. A dirty player kick to control where that ball goes, and a wrestle, probably just for kind of mark slash sacking if he really needs it. But still, really no key ball handling skills, but it's dwarves. They just basically roll over you until they get to the end zone. At number 5, we have the Norse. Werecasters. Norse coming in at a pretty healthy North team in all honesty, but 2 very big injuries here. The kicker getting a minus AV, and then probably the most damning one of all, his Berserker with tackle mighty blow, taking that minus AV. That's going to hurt. You can't really get rid of him at this point, but man, is that AV6 going to be a liability at point. His double guard. He's a little tired, just got a rating. Double guard, block on both Ulf Warners, luckily, and a runner with blodge. So he has all the skills really needed. He has the 2 supports, he has the kick for control, he has the ball handling, he has the killers, and he has the big guy. And his 2 I guess what you could call blitzer positionals, have blocks so they're not getting killed on those 1 and 9s. So he's pretty much set as long as he stays healthy, but with 2 AV6s, it can turn bad real fast. At number 6, we have the Orcs here, the Viper's NATTS Game. Discum, the Black Orc, coming up to get block. No other ones leveling yet, though, which kind of sucks. He's going to really need these to level in round 2. Probably get guard on 2 of them, just to really help control the punishment. A Blitzer with blodge strength, so he's along with a tackle mighty blow, so these are his primary players. I'm guessing the strength up is going to be his primary ball handler, but I do see he has a thrower, so I might be wrong with that. And 2 linemen leveling up to get block and dirty player. So lots of fouls coming in, but he has really no support skills whatsoever, like no guard. He has 1 mighty blow, 1 tackle. So for those dodgy players, a strength 4 to kind of run around. But I mean, he has like no support skills, and it's going to be really hard in round 2 with teams that might have been developed better that have these skills that can counteract the orc's speed, and he won't be able to do much because he doesn't have guard, he doesn't have enough tackle or mighty blow to really control the pitch. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does in round 2. And then the surprising entry into round 2 does come with the Kislev. Boy, you can see he's pretty beat up. A lineman with minus AV, but he has guard, so he's just there to kind of run in there and help with hits. The catcher getting up to level 4 with plus movement, dodge, and guard. So an excellent cage breaker assistant. Just jump in with that 2+ leap and get that guard in there, then jump someone else in there and smack it. The bear getting block of all skills, so a massively good big guy with tail. A lineman with movement down, but that's no big deal. Another catcher with dodge and AV down, which it's hard to call if you keep that, but as you see his cost, he's not a cheap player to replace. And a lineman with movement down, but he does have 2 linemen or 2 blitzers, so he has the full 11 roster. So he's not going to have any loners next game, but he is going to be missing a catcher, which might hurt him. But at the same time, might help him not having 2 strength 2 players on the pitch at one time. But good luck to you, Scum, in round 2, and I really hope to see you in the playoffs. But that is our core division for round 1. Congrats to those who made it. Sorry for those who didn't. It was, and I mean, you guys went through a lot, especially you, Callisti, and Cadet. I mean, this has been the division of death. Just deaths every single match day. So, good job to all you do, all that made it, especially Callisti with Elven bullshit getting you number 1. And I look forward to see who is going to be going on through round 2 in the core division. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later.
Good job, Ace. Nice coverage. It was fun being in the core division. One quick side note to that, Con Yorick with the Teeny Titans with the Ogren team did make it to the Hooligan division because of big debacle. Either way, it doesn't matter. He also made it, taking another division's wildcard spot. Alright, now let's jump over to the VGP division with Callisti.
Hello and welcome to what promises to be yet another thrilling installment of action from weeks 8 and 9, or match days 8 and 9 of Season 10 NATTS League VGP Division. I am your host, Callisti Mayer, the golden apple of Discord. So we had Christmas break, we had the New Year break, we had a festive break, we had Kwanzaa, we had all kinds of different celebrations going on. And because of that, we had a little bit of a halt in the action of Season 10. There was a bit of a freeze going on, and so all of you guys had, I think, 1 or 2 weeks to play just the one game, and you could move ahead a bit if you wanted and get all your games played and what have you, but there was no pressure. So even though it's been a little while since my last cast to you guys, there has only been 1 or 2 games played. So I'm going to be covering weeks or match days 8 and 9. And as you all know, match day 9 is the last match day of round 1. So we're also going to be having a quick look at the where teams are going and how teams are shaping up, and give you some predictions on how teams are going to do. So let's take a quick look at match day 8. So we had the Knights Panther Chargers, who are actually no longer part of the VGP division. I think they had to leave a little bit early. So they were giving up an admin win to the Marvel Heroines. So that's a 2-1 win to the Marvel Heroines, the Amazon team. Then we had the High Rock Horde, the Orc team, losing 1-0 to the Twist and Shout, the Pro Elf team, coached by Splinter. Then we had another admin game. Westies Surf Besties, the new Underworld team, or the newer Underworld team, joined the division a little bit later than everybody else. Got an admin win over Roanoke, another team, a Skaven team that left the division a little bit early. Then we had the Grudge Bearers, Cordorus's dwarf team, handing a hammering to the Beards of Myth, the other dwarf team coached by Floopy Chops. That was a 2-0 win for the Beards of Myth, for the Grudge Bearers. Then we had the Nerdgals falling to the Amazon team, the Brickstown Varsity. So the Nerdgals is the Nurgle team coached by Storn, the reigning NATTS champion. And he fell to the Amazon team, Brickstown Varsity, and that is coached by Vort. So that was a good win for the Amazon team. Moving on to match day 9. The Knights Panther Chargers, again, giving up an admin win to the Nerdgals. Brickstown Varsity lost out to the Grudge Bearers. Not a huge surprise. Both are great coaches. But the Grudge Bearers, obviously a dwarf team versus Amazons. The dwarves are always going to have the edge. All that tackle, and then what are the Amazon team built upon, which is dodge. So definitely a hard counter and not a huge surprise. The Beards of Myth got the other admin win over Roanoke. And then we had the Westies Surf Besties, the underworld team, was able to hold the High Rock Horde to a draw. That's a great result for this team. The High Rock Horde started the season at the top of the table, and they seemed pretty fearsome. They seemed pretty much unstoppable. So this late addition to the league should feel pretty proud of themselves to be able to hold them to a 1-1 draw. Don't know the full stories on that game, but I mean, if I was a newer coach to the division and I was able to hold off a very dominant team after a 1-1 draw, I'd be pretty happy. Then we had Twist and Shout, the Pro Elf team, in a convincing 2-1 win over the Marvel Heroines. So let's take a quick look at the leaderboard and see how everybody's done and where people are going. This was the last match day of round 1, so where you see people are placed, teams are placed, that's where they are. That's where they're going to be, and it gives us a good indication of where teams are going. So the division champions were Twist and Shout, the Pro Elf team, coached by Splinter. Another Pro Elf team to win the division. I'm not going to tell you who the other one was, but he's not too far away from you. And that was an impressive 7-2-0 record. So they're the division champions. They're going to be staying in VGP division for round 2. They're going to be the king of the hill, and everyone else is going to have to coming to VGP division is going to have to overcome this dominant team. Then we had in second place we had the Beards of Myth, the dwarf team coached by Floopy Chops, with a 6-2-1 record, and they are going to be going to the MCC division. In third was the High Rock Horde, the Orc team coached by Minimo1, with a 5-2-2 record. And they are going to the Kord division. That's the division that I am in. So I'm going to be squaring off against this team. And as I said earlier, they are pretty scary. So not sure how I'm going to do with them, but looking forward to it. Then we have in fourth we have the Grudge Bearers, coached by you know him, you love him, or not so much, Cordorus, our admin with the brains, and he came in with a 3-5-1 record, and I remember Kord saying at various times during the course of round 1 that he was just getting draws. Well, it doesn't look like he was being completely honest, because he's managed to rack up 3 wins. I know the last one had just happened, but that's a really good record. And so he's going to be going to CDT Division. So he's going to be headed there, and going to be obviously hoping to make it through to the playoffs. In 5th, we had the Brickstown Varsity, the Amazon team, coached by Vort, with a 4-1-4 record, and they are going through to MCC Division. In 6th was the Nerdgals, coached by Storm, with a 3-3-3 record, and they are staying in VGP Division. And then the last team to see any progression is the Marvel Heroines, coached by Steeler Daddy, yet another Amazon team with a 3-1-5 record. They're going to be going through as a wild card. They're going through to the wild card division, which is the DBB division, or DDB division, DBB, and it's going to be sort of a wild card playoff. So basically, we're going to have one 7th place finisher from each division is going through to this special wild card division, and they're going to be playing off for just the one spot in the playoffs. So pretty exciting, and this is like a second chance for Steeler Daddy to make it through to the playoffs. Unfortunately, this is the time where we say goodbye to the Underworld team at West East Surf Besties. Nerdfrog, you came to the division a little bit later. Didn't quite make it through to the playoffs, but definitely this was a good showing for you. I know you inherited a record. I'm not quite sure whether it was good or bad, but coming to a division like the VGB division, which is full of tougher teams, and getting a 1-4 record, not quite sure how much of that is yours. I would still be pretty happy with that. So good showing, and better luck next season. And then Roanoke and the Knights Panther Chargers. Both coaches end up leaving a little bit earlier in the season, so they haven't made it through to the next round, but they're not here anymore anyway, so it doesn't matter. Now, as to how the teams are doing, so Twisted Shout is going to be remaining in VTP division. Very, very strong Pro Elf team. They've developed really well. I think they are going to definitely be a force to be reckoned with, and the other teams coming to VTP division, they are going to have to really focus on overcoming Splinter if they have any hope of winning round 2. He is going to be the guy to beat in VGP division. Beards of Myth is developing very strongly. Floopy Chops is probably going to do pretty well in round 2. He's going to the MCC division. I think there are quite a few good coaches going there, so he may make it through to the playoffs, and we may see him again in the playoffs. But yeah, I think he's going to do well. Then we have the High Rock Kord, coached by Minimo One, the Orc team. Orcs traditionally do very well throughout all stages of the NATTS main league. I don't think it's going to be any different for the High Rock Horde. I definitely think they're going to be able to sort of power their way through to a playoff spot. It may not be the highest playoff spot, but I definitely think they're going to make it. The Grudge Bearers, I have a lot of respect for Kord. I think he's a great coach. I'm not sure if he is going to struggle, or if he's going to, now is his time and he's going to power through. We'll have to wait and see. The Brickstown Varsity, coached by Vort. Amazon team, I know that he has some really good power pieces. He's got a great catcher with an agility up. He has some really pretty fearsome blitzers. But the team does have a few bumps and scrapes, and he is going through to the MCC division as well. So yeah, I think he's going to be he's going to have a hard time, but I think he's going to make it through to the playoffs. And then the Nurgles or Nerdgals, coached by Storm. This is a coach that won last season. I think he has a great pedigree. And I think that this is a Nurgle team, so they really don't start well, and they get stronger as longer you play them. So I think that Storm's going to really sort of power through in the latter stages of, maybe all the way through round 2. He is going to be staying in VGB division, and I think he's going to actually be a bigger challenge for coaches than his ranking suggests, as the team is now developing quite well. And then Steeler Daddy is going through to the wild card. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it. I know there are some other good teams that are also going through to the wild card. We'll just have to wait and see. So these are your coaches and teams that are making it through to round 2 of the season 10 of the NATTS League. Twist and Shout are going to be remaining in VGP division. So are the Nerdgals. The rest of you are off somewhere else to another division. Next week, I will be back giving you all of the action from VGP Division Round 2 with a whole host of new teams. And I will be still hanging around, will be Twist and Shout and the Nurgles. But I'll catch you then. And remember, there's scoring and then there's Callisti scoring.
Nice job, Callisti, and I'm just going to go out there and try to defend Kord a little bit. He is playing the worst team in Blood Bowl. Maybe second worst team. I mean, half things are pretty bad. I guess if they went heads up with Dwarves, they would lose 1-0 or something like that. Anyway. Let me get off that soapbox. And let's go over and see what's going on with Scar in the CDT division.
Alright, here on the last day of the round again. I should commemorate this with another montage. Yeah, all that kill footage I got, I can break out my favorite song Painkiller again. Or maybe something else they've made.
No, you can't do that.
What? Why not?
Your last one got hit with a copyright thing, and we can't risk that again. Sorry.
Oh, well, no problem. Why don't we use Highway to Heresy instead?
Blood God has that.
Okay. What about Bad to the Bile?
Nurgle has that one.
Poker Fang?
Some crazy dark elf, I don't know.
Surely Smooth Acolyte would.
The Empire picked up that one.
Fine. Well, I'll just use Warpstone Struck instead.
Skaven got that song years ago.
Gah! Fine. You know what? Just pick something that is in our archive that has the smallest chance of getting us in trouble and use that.
You sure? You don't want me to run it by you first or anything?
No.
Really
I'm sure whatever it is, it'll be fine. Let's just get this party started already.
I'm so happy, happy-go-lucky me. I just go my way, living every day. I don't worry, don't agree. Things that bother you never bother me. Things that bother you never bother me. I feel happy, I'm fine, ha-ha. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time. Having got a lot, I don't need a lot. Coffee's only a dime. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time. Just take it from me, I'm just as free as any daughter. I do what I like, just what I like, and how I love it. I'm right here to stay when I'm old and grey. I'll be right in my prime. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time. Just take it from me, I'm just as free free as any daughter. I do what I like, just when I like, and how I love it. I'm right here to stay when I'm old and grey. I'll be right in my prime, living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
That went better than I expected it to. In fact, it turned out better than it had any right to be. Alright, moving on. Hello coaches, this is Scar, your Dark Knight of the Void, once again here to give you the final results of round 1 in the CDT. And I'm not going to go over the teams this time. It's all going to be shuffled in a way that only the administrators understand anyway. So, instead, we're going to go over the final few days, then it's off to the leaderboard to see the end standings, to learn the answer to that all-important question, who made it and who didn't. But before we start, I must say, congratulations, round 1 of the CDT. At 22 total deaths, and yes, I counted, I do believe you have set a record for most deaths in a single round in NATTS history. Give yourself a round of applause. In fact, put that up somewhere. There we go. Just keep that up there so you all may bask in your own accomplishment. Alright, enough mocking for one day. Let's get down to business. Starting off with where we left on day 6, we have the Mean Green Dream winning against Plan Z 2-0. Not entirely surprising, but certainly disappointing. Well, it seems like there was another demon invasion, and these two teams, the Gibbleton Tiger Rats and the Spanish Inquisition, could not play their game. It's always a shame when something like that happens, but there's really nothing any of us can do. Which is a real shame. I think the Spanish Inquisition needed a win here. Starting off on day 7, we have the Mean Green Dream beating Agents of Dwarf 2-1. And it seems like the Mean Green got a lucky break with their Black Orc getting MVP. Next up, we have the Flying Floofs beating the Nobles Trouble 2-1. And it doesn't seem like the Nobles' bad luck ended there, with their MVP being the lineman that got killed off. Isn't that just hilarious when that happens? Next up, we have the Tiger Rats beating Plan Z 3-0, which isn't very surprising considering it's a Skaven team, and Plan Z has just been nuffled the entire season. Next up, we have Monsterpocalypse proving they are the alpha of this division by beating Not Dead Just Yet 2-0. This was definitely a clash of titans, but in the end, there can be only one. And finally, we have the Horus Heretics absolutely destroying the Spanish Inquisition 3-0 in what must have been a very frustrating game for the Bretonnians. The one negative, it seems like the Heretics' MVP went to a loner. Starting at the top of day 8, we have Not Dead Just Yet tying with Agents of Dwarf 1-1. I can only assume that was a very bash-heavy, yet boring game. Next, we have the Tiger Rats tying with the Horus Heretics 1-1. I really don't have anything else to add about this. There wasn't even a decent death involved. Next up, the Spanish Inquisition could not be bothered to actually show up to their game, so they had to concede to the Nobles Trouble 2-1. So sad when that happens. Next up, we have Monsterpocalypse tying with the Mean Green Dream 1-1. Probably a lot of bashing, but at least the Mean Green Dream got another Black Orc to level up. Next up, we have the Flying Floofs beating Plan Z Didn't Work 6-0 in a score only capable via elf bullshit. But there were a lot of deaths in this game too, so it was at least a thrill to watch. And for the final day, we have Monsterpocalypse beating Agents of Dwarf 1-0 in a very slow, bashy game, as usual. Next up, the Spanish Inquisition seems to have given up completely and conceded to Plan Z didn't work. I guess that's understandable considering how this season has gone for them. Next up, we have the Horus Heretics tying with the Flying Floose 2-2. I guess both teams can walk away happy from that one. Next up, we have the Mean Green Dream beating Not Dead Just Yet 1-0. And it also seems like this was a very bloody game, with both teams losing a valuable piece. The Mean Green Dream losing their MVP, and Not Dead Yet losing their mummy. Very bad considering this was day 9. And for the final game of this round, ends in a concession. I got the feeling that the Nobles Trouble raged quit. I'm not sure. Either way, I don't think the Tiger Rats are complaining. Alright, let's take a look at the final placements for the first round. At number 1, to the surprise of no one really paying attention, we have Dr. Helix's Monsterpocalypse with a 7-1-1 record. I truly wonder if that kind of performance will carry on to the second round. At number 2, we have Laser Dentist's Mean Green Dream with a 5-4-0 record, that 0 being the most impressive part here. In number 3, we have Fenhale's Not Dead Just Yet with a 5-2-2 record. Very nice, especially for a Chimeri team, and no, I will not shut up about the fact that it's a Chimeri team in 3rd place. In 4th place, we have Placebo's Flying Floose with a 4-3-2 record, not bad. And 5th, we have Ace Pilot's Horus Heretics with a 2-5-2 record. Hopefully your luck improves in round 2. We have Pumpkin Escobar's Tiger Rats in 6th with a 2-4-3 record. Hope their luck improves as well. And we have Big Rin Agents of Dwarf going to the Hooligan Division with a 2-3-4 record. May you have all the luck in the world. But that does mean Dafo's Noble's Trouble, Eric's Spanish Inquisition, and Angry Panda's Plan Z are all out.
I have written a letter to the Referees Association as well as the League's front office, both containing my words of displeasure, as well as some white powder and some body parts of some people they should know and love.
Hey, get back in your corner. I know you lost and you're really salty about it, but just do what everyone else that's been eliminated does. Get a bottle of 6X Dwarven beer, get into the darkest corner you can find, and plot your revenge for the next season. Either that or just cry. Either one will work. Right. Anyway, I think that's everything for this round.
Actually, didn't you mention something about a Bretonian playbook you were going to upload during the break? It would be all ready.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Oh, the sound of my awesome coverage. That's all for the CDT. Looking forward to covering the CDT again and killing you all in the second round. Back to you, Cadet. I can't hear you. La 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 la.
I love that montage, Scar. That was great. That was great. Hopefully you have enough deaths in the next round that you can do it again. And I'm seeing you're really enjoying your new corner companion. Let's keep him over there a little bit longer. Okay, before we skip over to Panda and the MCC, here's the Scum with the Game of the Week announcement.
You all guys die down here.
Well, what a season that has actually been so far. First round, lads, of the NATTS Season 10, and good lord, it's become the season of death indeed. Double the deaths of last season. Oh, I don't know whether to be afraid or, quite frankly, so absolutely proud of all of you. So, good luck those who are going into the second round, and of course, being brought to you in Games of the Week is also going to be, if you've got it, the Hooligan Division. It's back one more time, bringing you some of the best, or is that the worst of the worst? Aye, lads, Nuffle, bless your dice. You're gonna need it, aren't you?
Man, where did he find that laugh? I am stealing that laugh. That is awesome. Alright, so let's kick it over to Panda in the MCC.
Well, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Guess who's back? Back again, and not dying of the Black Plague. Panda's here, coming at you. Round one's wrapped up. This is the CDT division, which is not the one we want. Forgive me, I've been day drinking. You know how it goes. Got to keep an eye on Ace, and he's a hard guy to track down. Let's go ahead and take a peek over at the MCC. Looks like they have wrapped up all 9 games for round 1. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the current teams and what's going on. Start with Crayon. I'm not sure if he's a drop or not. I don't know, we'll just run through. Call it good. The Scandians. Oh man, this poor guy. 3 AG Ulf. I don't know if I would have taken that particular stat up. Berserker's out. He's going to have a tough start to round 2. He does have Mighty Blow Claw on the Yeti, so that might be able to pick him up some extra, but he's got 160k in the bank he's going to need to pick up. Either... Yeah, well, he's going to need some additional players. He's Norse, no matter what. Scar, my man with the Bretts. Let's see what's going on here. Fairly standard build on the Blitzers. Took dodge, dodge, dodge. So Blodge Dauntless pretty much makes those Blitzers pretty gnarly. They also have catch. So, yeah, it's going to be bad times for anybody who comes up against them. They're definitely going to give them a run for their money. He's got 1 blocker out for the next game. He has jump up, but that's not too much of a loss. He's sitting on 50k. He can pick up another peasant / lineman. I think he'll do all right. So he's got the rod strip ball blocker as well, and he's in this game, so that's going to be important. But yeah, Scar's looking good, guys. Let's check out the Zectorman Ghost Mummies. He's got a Blitzraw that is out, and a pretty underdeveloped team short of the Throw Raw with strength up and dodge. Sure. All right. Not much else to say here. He's on 3 team rolls. Yeah, he's that's pretty much it. Bleeding Gums in the Koopas. 2 rerolls and no levels anywhere. I'm assuming this was a drop, so we're just going to skip him. McMackey, one of the up-and-comers with the Chorfs. You know, McMackey. These Chorfs, I've heard some bad things. Bad in a good way, not good in a bad way. So he's got double break tackle on the bowls. He's got a single guard piece, single mighty blow. He's got a Wrestle Gobbo and a Dirty Player, but he's got 13 deep with 3 rerolls and 7 fan factor. I think he's going to be doing all right. I'd like to see more guard on the blockers, but sometimes the levels just don't land there. So I expect some big things from this. I know McMackey is in round 2, So we'll see who he gets seeded against and if he can keep up his dominance. Hikaru with the Dark Elves. What's going on here, Hick? You got a Witch Elf with Blodge Sidestep. You got tons of dodge, which is good on the blitzers. I probably would have preferred some more strength access apart from the one, but you know, it is what it is. You're still elves at the end of the day. You got the kicker. See, Dark Elves is one of the teams I don't necessarily know if I would have taken kick with. Yeah, it's great, especially on faster teams. You can place it where you want it and either stall or pressure the ball. Dark Elves don't so much have that speed. Most of the teams in May 6, so I'm curious to see if kick actually pays off further down the season. And he's got a wrestle lineman, so pretty standard stuff. 4 rerolls is good. That might be too much, but it's elf still at the end of the day. I probably would cut one of these rerolls, bring the team value down and get some inducements. It looks like he's pretty bloated at 1440. We got the pink axes with my man Tasserin. Strength 5 Mighty Blow Black Orc. Wow. I don't know what to say about that, apart from that looks interesting. I'm curious to see how it's going to perform. We got a Guard Blork, Block Thrower, see, this is going to be a pain in the ass if he gets this troll up next to people. Stand Firm Guard. It's really going to line him out. 3 rerolls, 5 fan factor. So he could pick up a couple linemen and go foul heavy, which might be something I want to see. He's sitting pretty at 1360, so he's definitely not at the top range of team value, but it looks like he's doing all right. So Tasserin, I expect to see you, man. Good stuff. This may have been a filler team from the start of the season. We have had quite a few drops. Take a peek at Rez. Yep, that's a filler team just so the league was able to get started. Johnny Bravo might have also been a drop. Like I said, lots of drops this season for one reason or another. And he is completely unleveled, so that might have been another drop as well. Goat Boy coming in with the Nurgle at almost 1500 TDV starting into round 2, which is really good for them. So let's take a look. No levels on the Beast, that's fine. He's definitely a good enough roadblock with Tentacles and Mighty Blow, so if someone double skull, they don't want to, you know, they don't want to double skull against it, they don't want to throw blocks against it. They basically just don't want to be near it. He is pretty ugly too, like the rest of the team. So Nurgle Warrior unleveled, 1 SCP off. Alright. So Block is great. I don't necessarily like Claw as a first skill on Hulk, but he did pick up the 3rd reroll. So I think this is fine. Instead of taking Block as the mandatory first skill on the Nurgle Warrior, he does have 3 rerolls, which kind of makes this acceptable to me, especially with the amount of block he already has going on elsewhere on the rest of the team. Like everybody, it looks like a dwarf team almost. So, yeah, Goat Boy's doing very well for himself. Team looks good. AG4 Presty. Minus AG Presty. So yeah, he'll probably be assigned to blitzing duty or something. I don't know what he's going to do with him. And then he's got a hurt rod in it. Oh, man. A little heartburn going on. But we got John Cena down here. Minus MA, so whatever. It's a rotter. We don't care. He's got block. He stands there. He gets punched. He dies. Alright. Looks like Resin's actual team, Ghosts of Nephil's Past. Alright. Dirty player seat. Alright. No. We got a problem here, Rez. Right off the bat. Like this is great. Like Tackle in the White, this is great. Sidestep Lodge, Ghoul, great. Kick and Dirty Player on the same zombie with a 14-teep bench. I'm very disappointed in you. You should not do this. Alright? Thank you. Apart from that, looks a little bit underdeveloped. I was expecting more at 1370, but it looks like he's got a super deep bench. So we'll see if he's going to just run the foul game. He doesn't have the double dirty player or anyone to kind of fill in for that. So if even with dirty player, he fouls, he's going to lose the kick. Granted, Undead's not that fast anyway. He's only got the 4 ghouls at MA7, so I maybe he just had a level and didn't know what to take. I don't know, but not a fan of this. The rest of this development looks okay. I'd like to see another level on the white, but when I played Undead 2 seasons ago, generally they would die every time they got a single level and just fail their regen. So I'm not going to put too much thought into that. Hobo Suave. Might have been another drop. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he was. He's only got 1 level. We'll skip over. And Pegleg, I think, is not here as well. Yep, so Beastman with 2. Chaos Warrior 2. So that's pretty much it as far as where we're at with where the teams are developed. Some of them are great. Some of them are just kind of mid-rangey, and there's a couple choices, like I said, I don't agree with. Rez, correct me if I'm wrong later, but I wasn't feeling that at all. So let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard. As I was talking about, you have the Beefy Nurgle, McMackey, Scar with the Bretts, Zectorman with the Christmas Ghost Mummies. I am not sure if Zector is still playing. I don't know 100% sure what's going on with that. I'll have to check with the admin team. But if he drops, obviously, he just goes to the bottom, and the next one that would make it in would make it in. But no losses for McMackey. So he's definitely driving this division with those chorfs, which is a little surprising given the lack of guard. But he's making it work. Let's see. Tassaran creeps in with the pink axes. Yep. That's, we're looking good there. I definitely expect some big things from Mackie. Obviously, he's in first. He's doing well with chores. But Goat Boy and the Nurgle, this is really what I want to see. I want to see Goat Boy make these Nurgles put it down. Alright, and then Hikaru's doing alright. Slightly bloated at 1440. I fail with the amount of skills he has, but alright. And Tassaran and the Orcs. I expect you to be there, or be square. So, I want to take this moment, just to wrap up this segment. The Plansy didn't work Ogres. First win of the season. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad for whoever lost to the Ogres. But we didn't make round 2, so Panda will be here continuing our Bbpn coverage for our next division, especially into the next round. So remember, guys, Pandas never lose. We only win less.
Sucks to hear you didn't make it to next round, Panda, but you know what? At least we still get to enjoy you here on Bbpn. Okay, so last but not least, the Scum in the Hooligan division.
Day, my fellow hooligans, and of course all my fellow gobos. Well, congratulations, welcome. We have marched all the way to, yes, you've got it, it's now the second round of Season 10 in the Nats, and of course, congratulations to all the teams that qualified into the second round. But as we all know, there's a special division created for the, well, let's face it, best of the worst, as everyone likes to call them. And that otherwise is most officially known as the Hooligan Division. Congratulations to the poor buggers who get to be inflicted there, because as we know, last year, Well, let's face it, one of the crazy favourites that came out of that one was the Ogre team, and look how far they got. So it's getting to show you what is upcoming. So let's take a look at which 4 bloody teams actually make it. Here we are, lads, and lo and behold, we've got our 4 teams. How do we want to start this one out? Well, let's start off with this little pretty air, much to everyone's surprise, especially there at the coach. You've got it, it's the Kislev team, CSKA Edmonton. They don't know how they did it, after they had the worst start almost in NATTS history, going 0-5, and then suddenly discovered how to play the bloody game. So what was the mistake this team made during the season that they finally rectified? Quite frankly, they started with the bear and only bought the blitzers literally by game 6. And then guess what? They started winning games, so they might have discovered something. So looking at the composition of this team here, by fluke, they've actually got the bear with block of all things, and it looks like he's got skill up due to come in. But he's gotten quite beat up along the way getting there. But that's pretty typical for Kislev team here. He's got a movement decrease here. He's got another movement decrease here. Well, I guess he's lineman, he doesn't care. He's actually got a armor decrease here on one of his only 2 catches. So that's an interesting question. But looking at this one here, there you can see there's his player that does all the bloody work. Movement increase, dodge, and he's even got, of course, the guard of all things. That's a rather scary cage breaker. And he's even got another here, alignment with guard as well. But as you can see, he's got an armor decrease too. And he's got no skill ups whatsoever. They're all sniffing 1 SPP. So how is this team actually? It's only got the 3 rerolls. It's got the apothecary. Not much fan factor. It does have some cash. It's a good question. What's my prediction? Well, we'll see what actually happens and what develops. I've got no expectations. Now, here's the team everyone is terrified that is shown up. Yeah, you see it. It is Ogres. It seems to be it's the mascot for the hooligan team because unofficially I'm told this is actually the same team from last year. They've just been staying there waiting for the next game, and it's finally shown up. So they're in the right place. So let's take a look what's happened with this team this year. You can see it's been a brutal march for this team. Not what you expect. It's still got the 6 ogres, and it's a very different kind of skill up. They've clearly not been getting the massive casualties they've expected. They've got the guard here, and of course the break tackle. They've got one with a strong arm. They've got the howitzer. Now this is the interesting one. Break tackle, and yes, you see that right. He's got pass. Don't get me wrong. It's actually not a bad idea. If somehow he skills up again, if he gets there that far, he then buys strong arm. He's got the ultimate howitzer. And why is that? Well, look what he's actually got. Once again, he's brilliantly got not 1 but 2 snotlings that are actually the dream of his team. And this one here especially, because it's got not just a movement increase, but an agility increase. So face it, lads, look how often he probably lands. Combined with everything else, there's his pure scorer. If he can survive, and that seems to be the big question. It's for one of the few times an apothecary is also for a snotling. Of course, he's got the backup here. He's got another snotling with a movement increase. It's like this coach has learned a lesson from the playoffs of last year. Every point of movement counts here. But this is what the big shock is. He's got 100k in the bank, but notice he's only got the 2 rerolls. Only 2. Before, this team would come in with 4, maybe 5 rerolls. Now he's only got the 2, so it tells you what kind of season he's actually had. And look at what's missing here. Where are the rest of the snotlings? Oh, he can buy them back, but you can see what he's actually saving for. He wants the 3rd reroll. This is really gritting teeth time. However, if this team can get his hands on you and get some more casualties, especially these 2 ogres here, expect this to be possibly the breakout team once again from the hooligan division. But here's going to be part of the problem. Let's take a look here. Who else has made it in? Yeah, you can see it there. Marvel Heroines. Yeah, it's an Amazon team. And look what he's got constructed here. You look at it here and you realise this is not a bad team at all. They just had a run of bad luck right near the end, and lo and behold, they end up on the hooligan division. He's got the mandatory blitzers, including he's starting to get the strike blitzer. If he can get this one to get frenzy, look out. That's my answer on that one here. He's got the 2 throwers that have failed to skill up numerous times here, so this is his one big weak point. Perhaps, if you've watched on the cast with his team showing up, this is his biggest weak point. There's no sure hands yet. So it's constantly bleeding as re-rolls out. And then you look at his line women here. And his line women, as you can see, He's had a wee bit of a tough, actually keeping them surviving and leveling up. He's got the one spectacular one, so this has become his other surgical player. It's become the second blitzer, basically. And then over here, the catchers, and he's gotten the one with the skill up, but the other one not. So it tells you the tale of how his season's gone. How would this team do in the hooligan division? Well, looking at all this dodge here, quite frankly, you'd expect this team to do spectacularly well, unless someone gets their hands on them. And let's look at the final team that actually made it. Yeah, you got it, it's his worst nightmare. It's a bunch of sucking dwarves. Yeah, Agents of Dwarf. Huge surprise to see here. Last year, this coach engineered and coached a rather staggeringly good dwarf team all the way through the first round, and then got majorly upset in the second round and knocked out of all things. So he's got a lot to prove this season. So the fact that he's here in the hooligan division, it's definitely dwarves grudge match like you've never seen before. Let's look at the team here. And now you start to see why this dwarf team had so much problems this season. 2 fresh runners, yeah, according to the coach, both of them died during the season. So he's had to start from scratch all over again. And then you start looking at the rest of his team. He's got one brilliantly executed here, blitzer here. He's pretty much ought to become the hero of the team, because with these 2 dead and now fully replaced, he's had to carry the team. But of course, what's his biggest problem? Movement 5. So he's not been a TD machine, it just takes forever marching down the field. Now he's got the mandatory guard, he's even got one with the stand firm, which is good here. And the Troll Slayers, he's also had problems because they've been dying during the season too, and he's only recently replaced them as well. One's finally got the first mighty blow to start getting the skill points back, but the other one, well, he's brand new to the game, he only just joined the team. So only the 3 rerolls, but he's got a decent fan factor, and he's got a lot of cash in hand here. So what is basically the prediction coming in here? Well, first round, it's going to end up being Kislev versus the Dwarves. Prediction there, Dwarves likely should win that one. It's no real surprise there. Any other result would actually surprise this commentator here. And as for Ogres versus the Amazons are going to be running away an awful lot, and because of their blodge, they're going to be surgically diving in to take out Snotlings all day. However, will the Ogres make them pay for it? The Ogres are going to have to do everything they can to do as many early 3 dice hits for injuries they can, but they're dealing with blodge, so quite frankly, most of the time, they're praying for POWs, opposed to normally POWs and defender stumbles. So, it's going to come down to just how his dice. He's only got the 2 rerolls. I do expect that one to become an Amazon win, but we've seen this coach over here for the Ogres pull miracles before, so don't count him out, because let's face it, the Dwarves can't run away from him, but they've got the guard, and the Kislev should just be a free win for them. But like I said, he's been on a tear, we'll see what happened. So good luck, lads, and Nuffle bless your dice.
Damn, it feels good to have the hooligan division back. Oh, I'm stoked. Alright guys, well that's it for Bbpn this week. Join us next week when we dive into what happened in round 2. This is Cadet signing off saying, sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, but never bet against me.